What if I told you that nowadays chickens grow in half the amount of time that they used to? Would you be impressed or concerned? The documentary Food Incorporated, talks about this and many other things about the food industry and how much it's changed over the last few decades in honestly a negative way. Nowadays, Food Incorporated, or food in general, is controlled by a lot of big businesses that have a lot of money and can control policy and determine how food is made. And this is honestly a big concern of mine, especially after watching this film, and I think it should be for us too. I think that watching this documentary can really shed some light on the food industry and should start to get us to think about some things that we might not have known before about food. A few things that this documentary touched on that were important to me that I'm going to talk about today are the chicken industry, corn, and the importance of organics. First of all, the chicken industry is a specific example of a lot of different industries within food. There was one chicken farmer in particular. Her name is Carol Morrison. She was interviewed on the movie and talked about her farm and let the film crews into her farm and showed them what it really is like, how it's more like a factory rather than a farm like it used to be. This is where she explained that chickens are grown in about half the time that they used to be. It's about 49 days, when typically it takes healthily 4 months to raise a chicken. And she also touched on how the atmosphere around their community has been polluted because of these factories, so to speak. And there were many people, children especially in the community, that are suffering from asthma because of the pollutants that are spread into the air because of these factories. Secondly is corn. Now, I don't know if y'all know this, but about 90% of all items found in a grocery store involve some kind of corn component. This is great for preservatives. A lot of different processed foods have some sort of corn syrup foundation to them. Helps to preserve the item and make it taste better. But it's also detrimental because in the long term, corn can make us resistant to antibiotics. And so obviously we need to be proactive about how much corn we're consuming, otherwise we might get sick in the future and we might not be able to react to the antibiotics like we should. Lastly, I want to talk about the importance of organics, and there's an article by Avery Phillips who talked about how the price of organics makes them seem like a luxury item. However, we need to be more aware of how many chemicals are actually in non-organic products, because that's what makes something organic, is that it doesn't have the pesticides and the chemicals applied to it when it's growing. And there are certain chemicals that are used in pesticides that are actually carcinogenic and can lead to cancer. So even though right now organics seem like a luxury item, it's important for us as a society to trend towards that and to make it not such a luxury thing, because yes, it is more expensive, but in the long run it'll be more important to do that if we want to have longevity, if we want to avoid the risk of cancer in the future. So as I talked about today, Food Incorporated talks about a lot of different things, particularly the chicken industry, corn, and how involved that is in preservatives for all of our food items. It was crazy to me to know that 90% or more of items in a grocery store, that's everything you can think of in a grocery store, has corn in it. And also the importance of organics. Personally, I've never been one to seek out organic items at the grocery store, but after watching this film, I think I'll be much more likely to do that into the future. On an ending note, I want to show you this little factoid from the movie. Industries such as McDonald's control 80% of the beef industry. Now think about that. That's pretty insane. And that, I think, relates to the entire food industry as a whole. We have these big businesses with a lot of money, and their money motivates politicians to make decisions in their favor rather than in the favor of the consumer.